We went from a $35 AOV, which was making us about $2 to $3 a unit, to $65 or $70 AOV, which is now making us $15 to $20 a unit.
Is that with the same product?
Same product.
Jesus. Hey guys, Alex Fedotoff here, and today we have very special guest. So Ryan Dunbar. So he's one of our students in e-commerce scaling secrets mentorship program, and he's one of our very successful students. And it's exciting. Like, how much we've been working together so far? Like 2 months.
We've been doing this for about 3 months now, 4 months.
Yeah, and I mean, from Ryan, like we work with Ryan, and I see his kind of like evolution as advertiser and as e-commerce entrepreneur. And so in this, and how much in sales you've generated so far, and like with dropshipping, with e-commerce?
With e-commerce, we're probably pushing 750,000 over this year.
Okay, that's quite good. Cool. And so yeah, so I wanted to basically pick up Ryan's brain like on different things, and we just chatted before this, and he shared some of the main like breakthroughs that he had, and just like different type of thinking, like how he approaches like the products, the ads now, and kind of like it's quite different from most, you know, e-commerce entrepreneurs, dropshippers, and advertisers. So very excited for this, and basically pick up your brain, Ryan.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Yeah. So you mentioned that like one of the things we just covered before, right? That so, for example, you're selling a product, right? And let's say product does well. So previously, like you would just like abandon the product, and now what would you do? Like if, for example, the product kind of like dies down.
Before, you know, the products would do well, and you know, everybody's chasing that winner. And what I've really realized is every product can be a winner. It's not that big of a deal to find it. The product sourcing is quite easy. Just find something that speaks to you, that you would use yourself, or that you would know an angle to market it as. You know, even saturated products, there's no such thing as saturation because you're dealing with hundreds of millions of people. It's very easy to sell even the most saturated products if you know how to use it, or understand why you would use it.
Yeah, man. I mean, we've made so much money from these like saturated products.
Yeah, and my first test was this is right when we got started, was just as a trial. I decided to try selling the pour vacuum. You know, everybody tells you not to do it. And you know what, you put it in a one product store, you advertise it correctly, you don't steal everybody's creatives, and you come up with your own. And all of a sudden you're advertising to people who comment on your ad, oh, this is a wonderful product, I've never seen it before. You know, and this is one of the most saturated products that are out there. I didn't do a lot with it, but we scaled this up to $6,000 or $7,000 a day just because. Right, to test it, because at that time I was searching for that winning product, and everything I tested was not working, no matter what it was. And after you and I got together, I realized that it wasn't the products that were the problem. It's how we approached the advertising, the creative, the ad copy, you know, and understanding every step of the funnel. And, you know, I knew I didn't want to scale the pour vacuum, because at some point you're going to get your ad account banned, and that's exactly what happened. So I abandoned it, but it was a good test because you know, if you're successful with a product like that, it eliminates the need to go find a winning product. You can then start identifying the funnel, where the bottlenecks are, where the problems are that you need to identify, and it just eliminates maybe a problem. I'm not advocating to go sell this product, but you know, to find a product that is already trending well, even if you're just a beginner, helps eliminate part of the problem, and you can start identifying your advertising problems instead.
Yeah, that's very good point. I mean, that's very good point. I had a conversation with one of our members as well, and like he's pretty much like selling the same product that I mean, I don't know how many people like. So it was as a kind of like as a case studies in one of the like trainings. This particular product, and it was like advertised heavily, and there are like thousands of other like students who who've seen the same product and potentially so like many of them tried to run it. I mean, he's advertising 3x ROAS, like consistent. I mean, like several $1,000s a day, like 30% profit margins, no problem. Like, so your point like makes so much sense, man.
I think there's two ways to go at it, and even from a beginner or a seasoned advertiser that's done a couple of stores, either A, go after saturated products that are successful because they are successful, which means they will continue to be successful
Yeah.
if you advertise them correctly. Or in our case right now, finding an obscure product that nobody really, or not an obscure product, but an obscure niche that nobody would really go after because it's not hot or sexy or whatever, right? And that's kind of where the money is too, because if somebody is willing to use a product, or you look at a product and go, oh my God, this is an incredible piece of equipment that somebody could use or that I could use. And a lot of the products that I go after, I'm ordering myself because I want them, right? And that gives you an opportunity to understand how you would advertise it to somebody because you have a want for this item.
Definitely. One of our coaches actually in the program, like Alex, like so last year he's made like $500,000 in sales with a product that his mom mentioned to him, and so he just decided to test it out.
It works, and I preach ecom now. We're at a point now where my wife and we own brick and mortar stores in the town that we're in, and she had a full-time job. I have now moved full-time into e-commerce, and she has moved into my brick and mortar store. So it's we're now self-sufficient in the businesses that we own, which is a tremendous feeling. As you can do whatever you want. This e-commerce is an amazing business because you can do it from your house or your home, or you can do it living under a palm tree, and that's very powerful.
Yeah, definitely. We had like another interview with one of our members as well, like Sean. So he's living on an island, now, like somewhere in like South America or like Central America, like. Awesome, man. And so like in terms of one of the other things that you mentioned before we jumped on this call is your kind of like the metrics, right? So some of the things that like, so you advertise the same product and then you made some tweaks to the funnel and it's pretty much made all of the difference. Can you
Absolutely. There, as I took your course, Alex, it started to become clear that it wasn't as easy as just putting up your ad and running the first ad and hoping for success. Starting to run a product requires testing. It requires testing of your creatives as well as your ad copies, because a lot of the products a lot of the ads that I was running, when tested against other thumbnails or creatives or ad copies, some would do almost twice as better in terms of conversions. When you can double or triple your conversion rate or click-through rate, you have an easier time getting people to your store, which means you have an easier time converting. It's the difference between 1% and 3%. The other thing that was very powerful for me was to start putting upsells in place, and that was really the difference of being mildly profitable and wildly profitable. Upsells everywhere at add to cart, at checkout, and post purchase. They not just one, not just two, put them everywhere. And I know that a lot of people don't advocate putting friction in between your buyer and the purchase. However, it works if it goes together with that purchase.
So the product has to be kind of like related to the product that you sell on the front end.
It does. You know, if you're selling a dog leash and putting a cat ball together with it, if somebody doesn't own a cat, they're not going to buy it, and they're gonna make you look a little foolish advertising it. But
Uh-huh.
you know, if you're selling a product and there's another product that you can sell alongside of that,
Mhm.
it's amazing how much that converts.
Mhm.
And these upsells have almost doubled our AOV.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
we went from a $35 AOV, which was making us about $2 to $3 a unit,
mhm.
to 65 or $70 AOV, which is now making us $15 to $20 a unit.
Is that with the same product?
Same product.
Jesus. And do you use any like particular apps? Like, is that like?
Yeah, I for pre-purchase, I like the Bold apps,
Oh, okay.
and honestly, I use them because they're local to me, and
Okay.
so I feel like I have to support them. There are many that you can put out there, but I use Bold upsells,
Okay.
and I put it on add to cart for a complimentary add-on
Uh-huh.
that goes well, and then at pre-purchase through checkout as well. There's one. I have done post purchases through Intercart, which is an incredible app
Uh-huh.
to use. My problem with them is I'm in a country that has a 7-day hold on Stripe. So unfortunately, when you start scaling and they're holding $10,000 to $20,000 of your money, it puts you into a cash flow crunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would highly recommend using it if you are in the United States or if you are somewhere that only has a 2-day hold. This is
Mhm.
an amazing app. And honestly, I think I may just go back to it and try and figure out how to live with either the holds or find a different provider to me locally.
Mhm.
The other thing that if that's not advantageous to you, Reconvert is
Uh-huh.
something that does really well. The only difference is Reconvert has about a 5 to 7% conversion rate, where Intercart has about a 30% conversion rate.
That's quite significant. That's
Yep.
quite significant. I've heard
So
I've heard like they don't accept like new members for like Intercard now.
they're not doing it right now. You know, I even tried to add it back on, and they wouldn't add me back in. So I think they're doing some updates, but you know what,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know what they're doing. There's always OCU, Zipify. I haven't tried them yet. I'm trialing or playing around with it, and it seems to be a much better interface than Intercart. So you
Mhm.
know, that's definitely another one.
Definitely. Like one of the students, like Bilal and his partner, in our program, like Iskander, like they made over like $1.8 million
Mhm.
in yeah, one product, one product. Then they had like Intercard since August, so like 6 months.
I think what we're doing now is trying to split up that success. So instead of finding one product that you can do $50,000 a month on,
Mhm.
we're trying to find 3 or 4 or 5 products that
Mhm.
you can do ten or $15,000 a month on, and split them up through stores. And you know what? When I first started, that was the mindset: is you find this one product and you're going to do $1 million a year on it if you
Mhm.
find it. That's becoming increasingly harder in the space because there's
Mhm.
just a lot too many advertisers out there.
Mhm.
Uh, it's way easier to do uh, to to manage your expectations, and it's way easier to get a product to $10,000 or $15,000 a month
Mhm.
than it is to get it to 50. And so, you know, it unless you have that good product, diversification is key in anything.
Mhm. Definitely. And so you mentioned the like basically the product you're selling right now. It's not sexy, right? You mentioned it's not,
Not at all.
and,
Not at all.
and it's not. It doesn't look like a it doesn't look like a typical drop shipping product like gadget or stuff like that. Or
It
uh,
doesn't, and but it works, and it has a demand and it has a use, and there's specific groups of people out there that really could use it, and I'll name one of them is role playing game
mhm.
users. This product goes very nicely in their space, and it works. So you know, if anybody's looking at dropping their metrics, narrow into where your audience is. You know, you can't just
Mhm.
put an ad up there and expect people to buy it unless it has a very broad appeal. If
Yeah.
your item doesn't impact everybody, then you need to find out who it actually impacts and go after that specific person.
Okay.
Go
So
ahead.
it's either like very broad, and most likely those products are, as we it's kind of like they're saturated, right? Like, because many people have tried to jump on them. So then you'd have to be more creative with your angles, with your ads, with your creative, kind of like make something different and change
In
that.
my experience, there was two things that we did. I took your approach in wide or broad interest products to just narrow down to country, age, and gender, and that works phenomenally well. It doesn't start off that well, but you give it 3 or 4 days and let Facebook optimize, and Facebook finds your buyers. That's all it needs. And you know what? You've preached this for months now, that Facebook's algorithm is getting to the point where we're not going to have to narrow down interest targeting anymore.
Yeah, man.
And that, I think it's getting there. Or the other aspect is finding your product, finding your buyer, and creating your angle or ad to that specific buyer. And for example, we have a product that we sell to many groups of people, but in terms of this, going after role-playing users, we would create a campaign dedicated with that in mind, and structuring our ad and offer accordingly to those specific people, because now you're talking to them. And I think that's what the difference was from when I was advertising before and when I onboarded with you, was make your offer speak to your end user or customer. And that resounded with me. And honestly, that turned on a light bulb in my head and said, oh wow, you just don't create a general ad and hope people buy it.
Yeah.
You make it speak to that customer, and put yourself in their shoes. Why would this customer use your product? And if you can answer that question, everybody will buy it.
This is so good, man. So what are you mentioned the metrics on that, like not very sexy product, like you're getting like what are the metrics you're currently hitting, like ROAS and stuff?
Our ROAS fluctuates daily in between about 2.5 and 4. So and that's conversion. 2.5 to 4% conversion rates. Currently, coming out of Chinese New Year, we're just starting to ramp up our ads again. I have campaigns that are running 2.5 and 4 ROAS. I have some that are up at 12.
That's very good.
And will they stay that way? I don't know. They've spent about 3 or 5 days worth of spend, and they're still up there. So I think they're fairly optimized, which should be good. The other thing too, testing, right? Test your budget. That's the biggest thing that I've learned.
You mean the daily budget?
Daily budgets are huge. Some of our campaigns, and this is on the same ad, same ad ID, same product. Some campaigns will do well at $50 a day. Others will optimize well at $250 and $500 a day. And it's really, I think, and these are LLAs. We do normally LLAs. So I'll do cold interest targeting just to put more people into your core audience. But it's not really big budget. I tend not to scale those core audiences, or the cold interests. We'll scale our LLAs. So just putting people into that core audience and then developing and scaling the LLAs. It depends on what LLA it is, but I've had some, let's say, purchase 90 days, for example, and that's one that I'm just duplicating today. Did very well at $50 a day, and this is one that's up at 12 ROAS, but we duplicated to $250 a day, and it's at a 1 ROAS. But we have another audience. Add to cart 90 days, which shouldn't be as good.
Yeah.
At $50, it's a 1.74 ROAS, but at $250 a day, it's at a 5.
Jeez.
So, my experience is that is based on ad account. Not all ad accounts will perform equally. Some won't
you'll learn this.
The other one. I've gone through so many bans that I understand what Facebook does. I know most of the chat people by name, it seems, and you get back and going. But my point is that you just don't know, and not to give up on an audience, especially LLAs.
Mm-hmm.
They are so powerful and so easy to scale. If it doesn't work once, duplicate it. If it doesn't work 2 or 3 times, duplicate it. If it doesn't work at a small budget, try a large budget. If it doesn't work at a large budget, be happy with a 4 or 5 ROAS at $50 a day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they may not last as long in terms of fatigue or
Uh-huh.
just wear out, but you know, while this is running, a 5 ROAS at any budget is a good day.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So you had several of these kind of like major, like kind of like things where, you know, kind of your perspective changed. Have you ever had like you had any like so you definitely had a lot of like Facebook bans. So how did you recover from those?
The first ban that we had was earlier last year,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't recover from it because we didn't know each other, and I didn't know how to recover it. This is when things really started to cascade for people,
Mm-hmm.
we were running a compliant product. However, we got into a ban. They would reset it, banned again. This happened probably no less than about 15 times in 45 days
Mm-hmm.
that we went through it. And finally, then my business manager got banned, and then finally my Facebook profile. But it was all reinstated at that point. But I could never recover from it. I lost the product. It would never do as well because I didn't change the ad account.
Ah, okay.
When we met, or when I onboarded with you and started learning from your course, this became easier because the bans didn't stop. But now having a template from you to send off made a world of a difference. So now
Mm-hmm.
instead of waiting a week um, with a proper template and talking to them correctly in a professional manner,
Mm-hmm.
you're back up and running in a couple of hours. And I'm not sure how they prioritize it, but they do.
Yeah, yeah, I've noticed that. Yeah, man, it's like it's like, you know,
But you
they have the power, right, to either like shut you down or, you know, it's like they have no kind of like from their side they have no accountability. Like you don't know their names.
No, well, but I think too is just like, you know, their pixels hold a lot of data on consumers. They hold a lot of data on you and what you're doing.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So, you know, I think my bottom line is stay away from non-compliant products.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if you're on the line, get off of it. And if you're way over the line, stop advertising it immediately and start becoming a professional advertiser.
Mm-hmm.
Because every product is a winner. You don't need to advertise non-compliant products to make money.
Yeah, definitely. And
Um,
I mean, the very very good perspective. Like, so you wanna like for this from this product that you like advertising right now, you wanna turn it into like a brand, or how do you want to, or you just
I,
want to
I
like use it for
no,
your
I think
personal?
that that's a very good question, Alex. Is you know, and I think that we've talked about this before. I think starting either on a general store or niche or one product store is fine, and I don't think either any of them have any problems. There's pros and cons to all of them. Your products will sell just as fine on all of them, but I think once you have a product that you're scaling, it is definitely a good idea to move into a one product store. And
Mhm.
then once you have success on that one product store, to definitely private label it and turn it into your own brand.
Mhm. With that being said, you've had the situation where
Mhm.
you moved to one product store and it just like didn't work out. Is that
It
right?
did, and you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, and because it teaches you how to dive into what the problem was. My product was doing very well on our niche site that we were selling it on, scaling this one product to $5,000 and $6,000 a day consistently at a 25-ish% profit. It was
Mhm.
very successful and very profitable. And honestly, when you find that one that you can scale, it pays for all of your losses in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Once we moved it to our one product store on a new ad account with a new pixel, it was a very sluggish process to get this going. And I remember reaching out to you saying, well, how long does it take for a pixel to warm up?
Mhm.
And after you'd mentioned 2 or 3 days and I'm at 1,000 sales and still not warming up, I said, well, something's going on here.
Yeah.
Um, we were averaging about a 3% purchase conversion rate, and our ROAS was about 2.5 to 3, about 2.5 consistently throughout the whole ad account while it was on a niche store.
Mm-hmm.
When we moved it to our one product store on its new ad account, we were doing about a 0.5% conversion rate.
Jesus.
We were doing maybe 1.6, 1.7 ROAS, which is our absolute break even minus all your fees, right? So we were losing money.
Is that like, okay, so what changed? Okay, the team, so then like this happened, what did you do? Like, did you, like, you stopped advertising on that one?
Well, we were forced to because we got banned again
Okay.
for a very compliant product. But this was heading. This was very recently that we had banned. So I went on vacation, rethought about what we were going to be doing heading into Chinese New Year. I figured it wasn't really a great time to scale up. So after speaking with you again, let's either move it back to the niche store and advertise it where it was doing well. But I didn't want to do that, and I was like, nope, not listening to Alex. I'm going to change the ad account in the same business manager, change the ad account, same pixel, and start running the ads. And I did that about last week. And the difference was night and day. Our purchase conversion is up at about 4% now from a 0.5%. And now our ROAS, we're doing campaigns of 3, 4, and as I had mentioned, one that's over 12.
Very nice. In a total, so totally new brand, like brand new ad account, right? You started with
brand new ad account, but the same pixel and same ad ID.
You shared the pixel.
Yep.
Brand new ad account, and such a difference in performance.
Huge difference in performance. So my advice to people who think that they have a winner in place and cannot get this to convert, even though other people might be able to, open a brand new ad account and try it on a different ad account.
And so you got it to convert with that niche store or with one product store?
With our one product store that it was struggling with on the original ad account.
Wow.
Nothing changed other than just moving it to a different ad account.
Everything is the same, like the same store, the same domain, like same everything.
Same everything.
Same payment method?
Same payment method.
Jeez, this is so interesting.
Yeah, it's bizarre, and I'm not sure what the reason is for it. Even when we were banned and we got back up, we went from a 0.5%.
Was that ad account that you moved to have they been created at the same time frame, or some of them have been older, some of them have been newer, created?
They were actually created at the same time frame. I created a new business manager for this new one product store and created 4 ad accounts when I launched it, just to have 4 because I was going to split up our retargeting once we scaled up, but wound up never using them because I couldn't get the product to go. So they were all created at the same time, same user interface, right? Because some are different when you create them at different times. So the same user interface, same everything. I shared the product that when it was running on the original one wouldn't convert, couldn't get the ROAS up, nothing was working. After the ban, moved it to the ad account, a new ad account, shared the pixel, same domain, same store, same ad ID that we were running. So all it was shared.
Wow.
The only difference was I recreated all of the audiences from scratch.
The lookalikes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Lookalikes.
So I don't have an answer as to why, and I'm not going to question it. We're just going to continue on. It seems to be working, and we will just start scaling again and get it back because the product seems to work.
This is good, man. This is so good. I think this will help so many people, especially if they feel like, they hit a plateau with their, with their store, so they cannot scale profitably. I think that this will help.
The biggest thing that I have to say is, and this is what I've learned, and finding you and your course made the difference between what we were currently doing and having it not working, and understanding why you should do certain things, because a lot of people don't explain the whys. They don't explain that you should do this because. And understanding it for people like myself who are very analytical and want to know the whys, that makes the difference. The other thing was having a community that you can ask questions without being flamed online for is very important, because you can have those answers. The other thing was for me was to understand the funnel process, and that's something that I had never learned before. But each step of that funnel, finding out where your bottleneck, makes huge advances in your conversion rates.
Yeah, I mean, I wish everyone would like, would just like, listen to what I say. Man, I wish,
It works. Everything works, and the amount of knowledge that you've put into a course and on paper is invaluable. I highly recommend it. We wouldn't be as profitable as we are without it.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Cool. So, so from your perspective, so you want to like expand and like basically create like a brands over time with these products that you're running.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that needs to be the way to go in the future. I think there's some quick money to be had in drop shipping. Unfortunately, with the amount of demand on the space and Facebook advertising, especially, those quick, cheap items you can't make money on them anymore. So when you're now up into the $50 and $60 and $70 price point range that you have to sell, if you find something that works, yeah, absolutely, put your name on it.
Cool. And I believe you also jumped on the Pinterest training.
I haven't as of yet. I think until I get back up to a decent amount of money with what I know,
Okay.
stay with that. But yeah, no, it Pinterest interests me very much. So I think it's just another
learning curve
revenue stream. And well, it's a new revenue stream, and I think you need to have fire pokers and different, a lot of them in the fire, right? To have revenue streams coming in from different angles.
Cool. Very nice. How much do you typically work on this business, like on a daily basis typically?
Well, now that I'm working from home, I'm in front of a computer pretty much all day, but that's by choice, not by necessity. I'll wake up in the morning and set my ads for the day to hit the US market. And then I leave it alone for 4 or 5 hours. If I'm running larger budgets, I'll check them at noon or 1 just to make sure that we're still in our KPIs. And then in the evening, I'm back either shutting things down or fulfilling orders. I still do everything myself.
Oh, wow! You still do everything yourself?
Yeah, I haven't. I unfortunately I'm a control freak, and I haven't given up control to anything. I still answer all my emails from all 4 of the stores that I have running. I fulfill all of my orders. Some are done through an agent. Others are done through fast shipping, through AliExpress suppliers who have really good service. So I've done both, but I still do everything myself.
That's good, man. You have any delays because of the Chinese New Year?
I do, but you know what? There's no reason not to advertise. Just put a notice on a couple of points in your funnel process and tell people and be honest that you're not going to ship until X date, and there's still money coming in.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's not an issue.
Yes.
A couple of our products ship from U.S. warehouses, so that's not an issue. But the ones that are coming out of China aren't necessarily an issue. We've had 1 complaint out of 1,000 orders this week.
Oh, really? That's it.
That's
very
it.
Nice.
So and the complaint came from they didn't see the checkout where we had a notice on our checkout, and they had an ad blocker up, so they didn't see the pop-up.
Okay.
So that's why it's important to have in multiple places.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Thank you very much, Ryan. I said, you share some of the things, I'm not thinking like very clever somehow. That's very good point, man.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, will be very valuable, for people, especially those that already have, momentum and want to scale up to the next level. So, yeah, thank you for sharing this. I'm looking forward to what would be the next benchmark for you, in terms of sales.
My next benchmark is to get the product back to $5,000 a day, which I believe is attainable in the next week or 2. And then it becomes a different ball game. And honestly, my next benchmark is to get to $10,000 a day in sales, but it requires just some different things to be done, and that's what we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, definitely. And you'll probably need someone to help you out, man.
I'll probably need somebody to help me out this time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anybody listening, listen to Alex buy his course. It's so invaluable. It's well worth every penny that you spend on it.
Oh man, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I mean, for me, it's like it's like we have a new version of the course like coming up soon. We'll have like big mindset training. We'll have like new Facebook advertising section. We'll like make it. I mean, I want to make it the best one, on the market. So people can go through it and pretty much like have the same kind of like mindset shifts as you've had, right? So yeah, I mean, I think that
the biggest change and the biggest change in the mindset and the biggest reason for success is understanding your KPIs, understanding the bottlenecks and the problems that you have at each step of the funnel.
Yeah.
Whether it be your add to carts, whether it be purchases, or whether it be click-through rates. It's
Yeah.
understanding what each of them do because they're all interconnected.
Yeah.
And starting from the website, that's the first thing to fix. And then I suppose you can start at either end, but for us, we started, why aren't our add to carts working? Why aren't our purchases working? How do we get the AOV up?
Yeah.
And then we moved on to the ad side or the Facebook side of things.
Yeah.
Why is my click-through rate not working? Why is my CPMs or CPCs too high, or whatever those reasons are? And you take each one on its own, but it has a chain effect on everything else if you work it backwards.
Definitely. And I think that was like one of the students, like, I mean, he does like he does more than that, like $25,000 a day in sales. And I mean, he's like click-through rate on the ads, it's like 1%, like quite low, like CPC is also quite expensive, but then his website converts at like 7%, right?
And it makes up for it.
Yeah, exactly. So if you look at the whole, like, kind of like ecosystem and kind of like all of the metrics, because then like, okay, like I need to change my ads, I need to like improve that, right? But like, if it's like all together, if it makes sense, if website converts, and if you focus your efforts on the right things, and you mentioned a few of those things, kind of like maximizing the value of everyone who comes to your store, like every click that you're buying, maximizing the value of it.
I think there's one thing that's in your course, and it's not mentioned a lot, and it's kind of buried in one of the videos, is that everybody's looking for a 3% click-through rate on their ads. Nobody except for you talks about that's a variable metric, and that's dependent on your CPMs. Attaining a 3% click-through rate at $15 CPMs, everybody should be doing that.
Yeah.
But if your ads are really good and your CPMs are down at $4 or $3 or $5, your click-through rate will not be 3%.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't think a lot of people understand. So you have to take it as a variable benchmark as to what you're looking for, because if you have really low CPMs and you're chasing a $3 click-through rate, you'll be chasing it forever.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, very good. I mean, I enjoyed this interview a lot, man. Thank you so much for sharing this, and I'm sure it will help a lot of people. Guys, if you have any questions, please post them below this video. Ryan, I mean, I don't know if you have time with all of the projects that you do, but Ryan will get back.
Absolutely.
So thank you for joining this interview, Ryan. Thank you guys for watching, and I mean, let's take it to 10K now.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Alex, for everything.
Yeah, thank you.